Welcome to episode 5 of the series Introduction to Carl Gustav Jung. I'm David Bell. This is a Six Senses night school program. In this episode we look at what Jung meant by the term the shadow from a Christian perspective. It follows on from the last episode where we considered archetypes. One such archetype is the risen Christ, who's the Saviour. There's also the opposite archetype, Satan, who's the tempter. So what do these archetypes tell us? How do they speak to us? They're images within the collective unconscious. That's part of our own unconscious inner world. What we admire in others is what we unconsciously admire in ourselves. We project this out onto others in the external world. Jung notes that what we revile in others is also a projection. It's from our shadow side. The shadow is hidden to us, but it is in us. How does that work? We need to accept the existence of both the Christ within and the tempter within. Christ isn't an external saviour, but is within us. Satan isn't an external tempter, but is within us. Satan is part of our shadow. Wholeness, healing and integration of the personality come through working with our shadow. Jung observed how hard it is for an individual to accept the shadow within. It's almost impossible for us ever to directly see our shadow. Instead, we feel its effects. We see it only indirectly. Besides the archetypal images, there are other aspects to our personality that also have to be worked on. This is very challenging to some Christian people. Why? Because they find it much easier to believe only in the conscious world. Often they convey an impression of religious certainty, 100% confident in their faith. They project such an air of absolute certainty about the Bible and their faith. They create a mask which they project onto the world. All of us do this. We have to adjust to different social contexts, and we use differing masks to do this. Jung called these masks our persona. Others don't see us as we really are, rather they see the persona our ego creates and projects. Very different versions of us exist behind our persona. There's no better illustrated than by Jesus calling the Pharisees hypocrites. That, of course, is the Greek word for actors. The actors in the play put on masks or project persona. We consciously project what we want others to see in us. Equally, we unconsciously project onto others what we do not see in ourselves. How important it is for better daily living if we can understand this. Jung noted that real growth happens when we make this discovery. It's often precipitated by what's popularly called the midlife crisis. Listen to what Jung says, quote, "Among all my patients in the second half of life," that is to say over 35, "there hasn't been one whose problem in the last resort wasn't that of finding a religious outlook on life. It's safe to say that every one of them fell ill because he had lost that which is the living religions of every age have given to their followers, and none of them have been really healed who didn't regain his religious outlook. This, of course, has nothing to do with a particular creed or membership of a church." Unquote. He wrote that in the classic Modern Man in Search of a Soul. The shadow is all part of our personality type. Loosely paraphrasing Jung from a letter he wrote to a priest, supposing someone starts to wake up to the forces at work in his or her psyche, there's almost instantly a confrontation with the shadow. What follows is a moment of decision. You have to stake your soul on a decision for the good, says Jung. It helps you become a real individual who's found him or herself. Jung called this individuation. And you have to learn to discriminate between yourself and the shadow. In all of this, it's a process. The good is the goal of individuation. Christ represents the self as you work through it. Jung also says we have to deal with the shadow or risk being devoured by it. He cautions the only way to deal with it is to cling to the good. Now, this isn't a fundamentalist reading of the devil who's out there. Satan belongs in the personal inner world of the psyche. This is where the demons inside us must be confronted for the personality to be made whole. But there is a caveat. As Jung himself once noted, in all his dreams, he felt he had only once glimpsed his shadow. We feel the effects of the shadow, but it's like our blind spot. We can't see the blind spot. We don't see the blind spot. Most of us can't see the shadow. And one final point about this. In the collective unconscious, it's not only individuals who project the shadows. Entire nations can do it. Current wars of religion are proof enough. ISIS demonizes the West and the infidels. It also demonizes anyone from Islam who challenges it. Yet we are just as likely to project our demons onto ISIS. There's an urgent need, I suggest, for all of us to cling to the good as we fight these personal and collective demons. I hope you found this video useful. To watch more like it, subscribe to the Practical Theology Channel. That's the orange logo bottom right of the video. Join me again next week when we look a little more closely at dreams in practical theology. Thanks for watching.